It was a cold Friday morning in early December, the kind that made Manhattan feel quieter than usual. The skyline glistened under a pale gray sky as police sirens echoed down Fifth Avenue. Inside a luxury penthouse overlooking Central Park, the lifeless body of Elliot Monroe, one of America's most beloved billionaires, sat slumped in his leather armchair. He looked peaceful, too peaceful. His reading glasses hung from his shirt pocket, and an unfinished letter lay beside him on the desk. There were no signs of forced entry, no struggle, no fingerprints that didn't belong. Detective Hannah Cole arrived on scene first. She'd seen her share of deaths, overdoses, robberies, even assassinations, but something about this one felt wrong. Elliot Monroe wasn't an ordinary billionaire. He was known nationwide for his charity work, rebuilding schools, funding hospitals, and paying college tuition for strangers. People called him the billionaire with a heart. But as the detectives surveyed the pristine office, the only sound was the quiet hum of an air purifier. "He didn't deserve this," Hannah whispered. By noon, the story was everywhere. Elliot Monroe found dead in his home, no signs of foul play. Social media exploded with tributes. Celebrities, politicians, even random citizens shared stories of how Elliot's donations had changed their lives. But behind the headlines, the police were growing suspicious. The medical examiner couldn't determine an immediate cause of death. No trauma, no poison, no overdose. It was as if Elliot's heart had simply stopped. Detective Cole ordered a deeper analysis, and that's when they found something. Traces of a rare neurotoxin in his bloodstream, one that caused paralysis before cardiac arrest. It was odorless, tasteless, and nearly impossible to detect. This wasn't natural. This was murder. For years, Elliot Monroe had been praised for his generosity, but behind closed doors, his kindness had made him enemies. He had exposed corrupt partners, fired executives who stole from charity funds, and testified against politicians who laundered money through his foundation. Detective Cole began digging into his circle. His business manager Gregory Holt, his assistant Melissa Dunn, and his lawyer Robert Chase. Everyone claimed to love him, but everyone also had something to gain from his death. As she flipped through his personal files, Cole found something strange, a section labeled Private Beneficiaries. Inside was a list of people he quietly supported, widows, orphans, cancer patients, and one unfamiliar name at the bottom, Daniel Brooks. No details, just an address in a small town in Oregon. When Detective Cole arrived in Oregon, she found a modest auto repair shop with a single sign that read, Brooks Auto Service. A young man, about 27, was under the hood of a pickup truck, oil stains on his hands. "Daniel Brooks?" she asked. He looked up, confused. "Yeah. Can I help you?" Cole showed her badge. "I'm investigating the death of Elliot Monroe." Daniel froze. His hands trembled slightly. I don't know what that has to do with me," he stammered. Cole handed him a photo, Elliot Monroe, smiling in front of a children's hospital. Daniel stared at it for a long moment, then whispered, "That's the man from my mom's stories." His mother, who had passed away 2 years earlier, had told him about a kind man named Elliot who helped her when she was young, a man she once loved. She never said he was his father, but blood tests later confirmed it. Daniel Brooks was the only son and sole heir of Elliot Monroe. Back in New York, Monroe's attorney, Robert Chase, was called in to open the sealed will. Inside, the will stated clearly, "All of my fortune, assets, and business holdings are to go to my son, Daniel Brooks, when he is found." The board members were furious. No one even knew Elliot had a child. But Detective Cole noticed something else. The will had been rewritten just 3 weeks before Monroe's death. That meant someone knew about Daniel's existence. And maybe that someone wanted to make sure he never inherited a dime. Cole's focus shifted to Gregory Holt, Monroe's business manager. Holt had access to every financial record, every personal meeting, and was the last person seen with Elliot the night before his death. Surveillance footage from the penthouse elevator showed Holt leaving around midnight, hours before Elliot's body was found. Cole interrogated him. "Cole, you were the last person to see him alive." Holt, He was fine when I left. Cole, you knew he changed his will, didn't you? Holt. Smirking, everyone knew he was losing his mind. Maybe he just gave up. But there was something in Holt's eyes, fear disguised as arrogance. When forensics checked his laptop, they discovered deleted emails, conversations about ensuring the inheritance doesn't fall into the wrong hands. As the investigation deepened, another piece of the puzzle surfaced. Melissa Dunn, Elliot's assistant, confessed that 3 weeks before his death, Elliot had told her, "I finally found my son. I want to make things right before it's too late." He had sent a confidential file about Daniel to his lawyer, Robert Chase, and Gregory Holt. But when Cole confronted Chase, he revealed something shocking. He never received that file. The only person who did was Gregory Holt. Cole obtained a search warrant for Holt's private accounts, and that's when it all came together. Bank records showed he had transferred $2 million to an offshore account just days after Monroe's death. Under pressure, Holt broke. He confessed that Elliot had confronted him about stolen charity funds. Elliot threatened to turn him over to the FBI the next morning. "I panicked," Holt said. "He ruined me. I didn't mean to kill him. I just needed him quiet." Holt had slipped the neurotoxin into Elliot's tea that night, a formula purchased from an underground lab designed to mimic a natural heart attack. After the murder, Holt deleted every trace of Daniel's existence, hoping to control the company himself. But fate had other plans. Months later, Daniel Brooks stood in his father's office, the same room where Elliot Monroe had taken his last breath. He looked out the window, the New York skyline glowing in the distance. "I didn't even know him," Daniel said quietly, "but everyone I meet tells me he changed their lives." Detective Cole nodded. "He built an empire on kindness, and that's what killed him." Daniel inherited his father's estate, worth over $6 billion. But instead of living lavishly, he created the Monroe Foundation, continuing his father's mission, scholarships, hospitals, shelters. The world had lost a good man, but his legacy had found a new heart. Gregory Holt was sentenced to life in prison without parole. During sentencing, he said only one thing: "I never thought kindness could be dangerous, but it was." In a world built on greed, Elliot Monroe's compassion became his downfall, yet also his immortality. Daniel often visits the grave, placing a small wrench on the headstone, a symbol of his humble life before wealth. "You gave everything to the world," he once whispered. "Now it's my turn to give it back." And as the wind swept across the cemetery, the camera fades out, leaving only one haunting truth: sometimes the greatest hearts draw the darkest shadows.